So there's no doubt in your mind that having those tools that were given by all three levels of government gave a strategic advantage to law enforcement so that they could clear it in the manner in which they did.
Is it me, or is this Liberal trying to put words into ex-Police Chief Peter Sloly's mouth? This is what frustrates me. There is no middle ground here, but Peter Sloly is not taking the bait, although you can clearly see where his loyalty is, but in the end he's only looking out for his own interests. Here's the clip.
You know, I think that we have to really bring it down to taking advantage of an opportunity that we have before us, Mr. Sloly. You are an individual that has served for many years with the Toronto Police Force. You came to Ottawa, you run the Ottawa Police Service, and in my books, that tells me that you have a great deal of experience. And when it comes to situations that came up not that long ago, we like to think that we tap the minds of individuals that have the expertise. I would find it very difficult to find someone that's better suited, knowing Ottawa as well as you do, knowing the force as well as you do, given the background that you have. And you're telling this committee today that your primary goal, from what I understand, is to assess the risk and to ensure public safety and the safety of your law enforcement officers. Is that a fair assessment, what I just finished saying?
Public safety, yes, which includes the safety of our police service members, yes, sir.
You also made it very clear that whether it was the municipality of Ottawa, the province of Ontario, or Ottawa, the government of Canada, invoking the Emergencies Act was beneficial and allowed for the successful displacement of the convoy. Is that a fair assessment?
I described it as a whole of Canada effort, and that includes the declarations of emergency at the three levels of government.
So there's no doubt in your mind that having those tools that were given by all three levels of government gave a strategic advantage to law enforcement so that they could clear it in the manner in which they did.
I prefer not to use the term law enforcement, but it provided additional tools and capabilities to the police services. I can specifically talk about this police service here up until my last day in office, yes, sir.
And there's no doubt in your mind on that?
They were definitely advantages that came that allowed for a quicker and ultimately safe and successful conclusion to the events here in Ottawa, yes, sir.
Okay. So we make reference, for example, to tow trucks. This legislation, the federal legislation, enabled, whether it was the province of Alberta, that raised concerns. They could not get the tow trucks. I suspect you might have heard some feedback on that, right? Having the legislation there would have given the confidence that you would be able to access the tow trucks. Is that a fair comment?
Again, I can't speak for what took place in Alberta, but I did hear that feedback in my discussions with Commissioner Lucky about what was taking place in Coots and other police leaders, yes.
Sure. When I think of the thing of safety, I was shocked when we found out there's all sorts of weapons in the province of Alberta. I walked down, from all the way down Wellington, from Lisgar and Metcalfe, down Metcalfe, up, and then I would go into West Block or Wellington building. And I pass all these trucks, and I often wonder, what's in the cabs? You hear about these weapons that were found. Was there any discussion in terms of what type of things could be in the trucks, the semi-trucks, the cabs, what might be there?
There were constant discussions around weapons or weapons that could actually be just converted from normal items, including the use of a vehicle. Yes, sir, every single day.
Would it be fair for me to say that that was a legitimate concern that people that were in control, our law enforcement officers, had in the back of their mind that there could be weapons then? Is that fair to say?
No, sir, it wouldn't. While we had a healthy discussion on a daily basis around what we knew from an intelligence basis as to if you're describing weapons as prohibited weapons, yes. Switchblade knives, firearms, as the case may be, we had those discussions. The weapons that we were more concerned about were quite frankly, vehicles and other things that could be converted very quickly into different ways to harm public safety, to affect public safety.
Can you give just a quick oversight in terms of what you believe when you think of the organizers, because it wasn't one organizer. There's a multitude of different people that were organizing this, the convoy. A lot of them surprised us. Some were former police officers, all sorts of backgrounds. Can you give a thought in terms of how that might have impacted the potential volatility of the convoy itself?
Thank you very much. From my understanding, there were experts from a range of fields, from medical to legal, but certainly the presence of former national security, military, and police members within some of the core coordinating capabilities of the events around the convoys was a significant threat risk factor that we had not seen on that type of scale in my experience. And I've heard from other police chiefs that was a significant factor, yes, sir.
So this situation was, in fact, truly a national security crisis from your perspective, very unique, had all sorts of potential to have weaponry and so forth.
Sloly, maybe you can answer the question. I think you have enough to work with very quickly.
Yes, it was a national security crisis, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fortin, you have 5 minutes.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Madam Chair.